Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 54, the podcast about our lives and love of pop culture. I am your host, Lotus Prince, and this is...
PyroJackFrost, back from the dead.
Whoa, he's unfired.
And Mr. Ryu.
Hey, welcome back.
The worst person on this podcast.
Oh, no.
I am a German sausage.
They're the worst. Well,
we're starting off to a strong start.
Yeah, we got unfired Pyro and the worst person.
You're such a brat.
Yeah, so anyway, at this point, I believe we can discuss what has been going on this week. So Pyro, why don't you start us off?
Okay, yeah, I guess it's been a while since I've been on. I have quite a bit, so I'm just going to gloss over a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing, one of the reasons why I couldn't be on, I think 2 weeks ago, is I was camping. So I just wanted to mention that. It was pretty fun. We went to a shooting range, and we did some zip lining. So
wait, you went
fun.
Camping and in a shooting range, so you're just like a Counter-Strike player?
I was gonna go
Get
a
out
different
of here.
No, I was gonna
Cheater.
go.
Well, I mean, this is a gaming podcast, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
I know you hack. No, I was gonna go in a different direction. If Vice were here, there is no doubt that he would have said something about it being intense.
Oh, yes, it was very intense.
Just obligatory.
But yeah, no, that was fun. Like going to a shooting range, I got to shoot a sniper rifle,
Oh, wow.
and it was kind of a loud one. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't wearing headphones, I would have gone deaf.
Yeah.
Headphones?
And it was hard to tell how good my aim was because there was good recoil on it. So basically what I was doing was I was looking at the target, counting the number of holes already there, aiming my gun, then shooting it, and then looking again, and it's like, yep, I think I hit it.
That's pretty good.
I'm sorry I laughed at the counting the number of holes part because, like,
Oh,
it
that's
reminded
stupid.
me of this.
Number of holes.
Yes, like, I'm sorry.
That YouTube poop for like some sink commercial or faucet or whatever. Number of holes.
Yeah, so that was fun. Another big thing is actually, I don't know if the two of you know, but round one opened up near me.
Yeah, I saw you
knew
had
of
posted
that.
on Facebook about having gone, so I saw you playing
Yep.
that game where you're like that dead hand or dead man thing where you're like psychically...
It's called Magician's
Magician's
Dead.
Dead.
There we go. Yeah, you're like
That
psychically
game's
moving
fun.
around.
It
like,
has a really
it's
good
objects.
motion sensor too.
It's fun, but it's like, it's weird. I kind of feel the same with that as another game that's very similar to it, which is that Gunslinger Stratos game.
It's actually made by the same people.
Yeah, it's like whereas Gunslinger, the gimmick is the two guns that combine in different ways, and this gimmick is the whole hand motions. And I feel the same way where the gameplay is fun, but it's too much for me to be thinking about as I'm playing the game.
It's
Yeah.
got a pretty big learning curve, those games.
Yeah.
The tutorial took forever. I watched Mr. Ryu play through it, and you could pick it up, but it's just like, damn, we're still going with this tutorial.
Yeah, for Magician's Dead, the tutorial was really long, and like it's fun, and I did pretty well, but I was also playing the easy, and I was only playing
Yeah.
against the computer, so I don't really know how good I'd be
It was the same with
against
Ryu.
real people.
Actually, you
Well,
know,
actually,
oh, no, you
like,
had one human opponent, I think.
Yeah, I did actually manage to like match up with one human opponent, like the one other person playing Magician's Dead right now, like right at that moment.
You know what I want to see, actually, is I want to see just what it looks like when high-level players play the game. And I don't mean in the game. Like, I want to see what they're doing, like, at the machine.
Like,
'cause that's
just seeing their hand signals and whatever, or in like
Yeah, 'cause-
Gunslinger, them just like quickly changing the guns around.
Yeah, doing all your cool equilibrium gun poses, but like with the what was it called, Magician's Dead? Like you gotta know exactly what you're doing at any given time because the hand motions are really key.
Yeah.
Well, actually, honestly, I think Magician's Dead is way easier than Gunslinger Stratos.
Really.
I would agree because in Gunslinger you have to not only remember what way the guns go, but make sure you're doing them so they click. Because if they don't click, then
Oh.
it won't register as the new gun. Whereas in Magician's Dead, it's just like you have to worry about one hand
Okay.
making different
I,
motions,
like,
so
you
it's
can
not as bad. There's
easily
only really
memorize the hand gestures. Like,
yeah, there's
they're
only
not
really
that hard.
3 hand gestures technically.
I
There's
just-
like
I guess-
put your palm out and move your thumb in. That's one. Then again, palm out and move everything but your pointer finger and thumb down. So you're making like an L with your right hand.
then
And the
make it
last
like a
one is just
trigger.
make a fist. Like those are the
Okay.
3 hand motions. And if you can do all of them, you basically have done all the...
All right, with Stratos, I didn't realize that clicking was an issue because weren't they like didn't they use like light magnets or something to kind of help
They
the
do,
process?
and then,
but
like,
if you're a
they
little bit
only
off,
register-
they
oh,
won't
sorry.
register.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, so other than that, my girlfriend played the Tsum Tsum arcade game,
Oh my
which is
Oh,
god.
actually
wow, that's old school.
it's pretty cool because so let's put it this way: one game is 1 credit, which is 4 credits, which is about $1.
Mm-hmm.
If you spend 12 more credits, so $3 more, you get an actual Tsum Tsum that you can register with the game.
Oh, that's cool.
So what we're gonna probably do is every time we go to that round 1, we're gonna get a Tsum Tsum.
Nice.
Oh, I assume that's why you go there.
But yeah, otherwise it was just normal rhythm games and shooters. But it's
Yep.
really nice that it's 20 minutes away from me, because the only other one that at least we've been to is the one in Pennsylvania, which
Okay.
is kind of far.
Yeah, and the
From at
closest
least
one
where I
to
live.
us is like an hour.
Yeah, that's the one in Pennsylvania.
That's
Actually,
that's
I
right.
think-
Yeah.
I think both the locations are kind of equidistant from where like Lotus and I are.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really? The one in
Yeah,
New York's
like
about
about
an
like
hour.
an hour 30 or hour 20.
That means that you should go to the one near me, and then I can join you more often.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. You're right. And then
But
like, if
yeah.
we stay late, we can stay over your place, right? Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But it was really cool because when we first went there, before I went, I was afraid that it wasn't going to be a popular place, because arcades are kind of dying in a way. Or they've died. I guess that's the better way of putting it, like actual arcades, other than Dave and Buster's. And when we
and
got
like
there,
that
it was
one
about
that Yestercade for some reason is still going really strong.
when we got there, it was about like 11:30 or so, and there weren't a lot of people there. So I'm like, I hope that this place is actually pretty popular, because I want this place to stay alive. Not that I'd go there every week. Like,
Oh, they get
I'm
their
pretty sure,
audiences.
Mr. Ryu, you go to round 1 pretty often, don't you?
Kind of, not really that often. But
Okay.
question: were you able to reuse the card you used in Pennsylvania?
Oh, so that's another thing I wanted to mention.
That is
First
a
of
good
all,
question.
we left around 2, I don't remember when we left, but it was
That's about
still,
when it closes, right?
No, it closes late. Closes at like
2 a.m.
6,
Yeah.
2 a.m. No, 2 in the afternoon. We
Oh,
didn't stay there
okay,
until 2
okay.
in the morning. we got there at 11 in the morning,
Oh,
not
okay.
11 at night.
Okay.
and we stayed there till 2, and there were a okay amount of people there, but I
like
was
normal
like,
people.
yes, I was hoping that it was popular, but then we went back there after we ate, or no, after looking around the mall for a little bit, and it was packed. And
Hey.
on one hand, I was happy because it's going to stay in business for a while, but on the other hand, I couldn't play anything that I wanted to anymore.
Yeah.
So
So you
yeah.
had to
kind of-
wait.
We kind of found out that the bad hours are between like lunch and dinner time.
I guess that makes sense because that's like in
Yeah.
the afternoon when probably the most people are like out of school or off of like their early shifts at work or whatever.
And we went
Yeah.
on a Sunday too, so that's why it was
Oh, yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
packed.
Last time we went for like Vice's like birthday party, it was pretty packed. It was like
Mhm.
It was.
Saturday night. Yeah.
But to answer your question, Mr. Ryu, I could not use it. I had to get a new card.
Oh.
Oh no.
They can move credits over to a new card, but they can only do that on weekdays. So I'm gonna have to find a time during a weekday to go
Well,
and
it's
do
cool
that,
that they
because I still had a
have-
lot of credits left on the card from Pennsylvania.
Well, it's nice that there is a solution, so you don't have to like double down on cards all the time.
It'd be nicer if they just let you use one card on every location.
That would be, yeah.
Actually, question: how are the conditions of the machines there? Because I know the one in the Pennsylvania one, like some of the machines have like scuffs and like are not functioning right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of looks, everything looked fine. I know that there were a couple machines where the swipe wasn't working. And also the only other thing that annoyed me was there was like a couple games that weren't hooked up. Like there was this tank game that I tried to play where like you move a tank and you shoot other tanks.
Is it called Tank Tank Tank?
Yes, it's called Tank Tank Tank.
Isn't that
But,
like the Wii U?
It
Yeah,
might be, I don't
that's like
know.
a port, I think.
Huh.
But my girlfriend and I were trying to play, but every single time that we put credits in, we couldn't play together. We had to play with against CPUs. So I guess they didn't hook them up together, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lame.
And also Time Crisis, one of the machines didn't work, so I could only play by myself.
Oh man.
But other than that, everything seemed fine.
Okay, I guess it's like general American arcade, like.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think that these are expensive, and they don't have a lot of people who know how these things work, who work there probably. They're still hiring, at least for this one, too.
Yeah.
So it could be that they don't have their engineers fully
Also,
staffed.
another question. How many Hatsune Miku arcade cabinets do they have?
I would imagine it's the same across round ones.
I
probably.
saw one,
Just one?
but there might have been two.
Okay, because round one in Pennsylvania only has like one, and sometimes when someone's playing it, which is rare, like it's just like, oh, I have to wait. God damn it.
Yeah, that's the one thing. So, when
with
we
the music
play
games,
arcade
have fun.
games at MagFest, it's kind of an understanding that you play one game and then you wait, the next person in line goes, just because there's so many people at the convention that they know that you can't just be at a machine forever.
Yeah.
But it's different
Well,
here. You could just
It's
like
different at
wait.
round one. Yeah, so when I got there after looking around the mall, I wanted to play Theater Rhythm because, if anything, that's the one game that I'm trying to level up my characters with because I have the card to do that, so I want to play. And I was standing behind this girl playing, and she swiped like 3 or 4 times,
Oh, for
and I was
God's
like, you know what, I'm just gonna go.
But,
It's not worth
I
waiting.
remember even back when we were in college. I mean, I don't know how you would do it here, but at college, the machines were actually coin op and not swipes. And I remember people would like take a quarter or a token or whatever we used and just put it on the machine where the other person was, indicating like I
That's
got
old
next.
school.
That
Yeah,
is
that's
old school.
very
You can't
old
really do
school.
that with a card, but like.
Well,
Yeah.
it only really
you
applies
could,
to fighting
technically.
games, I guess. Like, I'm not sure. And
No,
DDR.
I remember it. Yeah, I was gonna say DDR. Yeah.
But yeah, so round one's cool. I'm hoping that, not that it's much different than the one in Pennsylvania, but I'm hoping you guys can come check it out sometime,
Oh yeah.
just because it's closer to me.
Defiantly.
Did you
Did
say
you say
defiantly? Yeah,
Yeah.
like the misspelling of definitely, like constantly.
Hey, nursing personnel.
That's a personnel, kid. Teleport behind
But yeah,
you.
other than that, mainly my life of games has been Final Fantasy everything. Like on the train, I'm playing World of Final Fantasy, which I'm starting to lose interest. The longer I play, the less I care, and I'm like right at the final dungeon, and I really don't feel like beating it because the story kind of is disinteresting, and the collecting of the monsters isn't as fun. Because like with Persona and even with Pokemon, you know what kind of monsters you need, like that you need a certain set of monsters, right? Like in Persona, you need to have the different elements to hit enemies' weaknesses. And then in Pokemon, you need to have different monster types just to cover strengths and weaknesses.
No, just pick the top tier monsters and then.
Or even
use
that,
the bull
but-
poop RNG.
But in Final Fantasy, since there's so many different types of things you have to worry about, you need to level up a whole bunch of different monsters, and it's just kind of annoying. Basically, I've been going through the whole game with the same monsters, so it's just a war of attrition every single battle. I just do auto attack and heal. There's like no strategy in it at all.
That
And-
doesn't sound very fun.
Yeah, and it's just getting less and less fun. And
Like I can see that being enjoyable
story
in like, the
is
Dynasty
lame.
Warrior sense, but like,
I mean, it like has a lot of cool mechanics, such as when you level, you get stat points for your monsters, and you can unlock new abilities. That's pretty cool. And when you turn them into a different monster type, they keep those stat points in a way, so you can get better monsters that way. So there's some cool mechanics like that, and the whole stacking mechanic is kind of cool because if you have two people with fire stacked on top of each other, then you have fire. So like
sure, yeah.
it's
And
really interesting
can
mechanics.
Can you keep doing that, like Firaga and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think if you have 3 fire monsters, you get Firaga.
Nice.
Or if you have two fires, you have Firaga, and if you have Firaga and another Firaga, you have Firaja, which is like the level 4 fire.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, okay.
So like overall, there's really a lot of neat mechanics, but the game itself just doesn't. I'm losing interest. I'm surprised I played it for 30 hours or whatever because it's just something I play on the train. So it's part of me like wants to just beat it, but part of me is just like, you know what, I'm gonna download Final Fantasy X on my Vita and just continue with that. And then I've been playing Final Fantasy XII because that came out, the Zodiac Edition, which is
Oh, it's
the
out.
international
Yeah.
version. Yeah.
The
Okay.
definitive like HD version too.
Yeah, and like I liked Final Fantasy XII, but the more I play it, the more I realize how much Final Fantasy XIV took from 12.
No, actually, 12 took from 11 because like 12 is essentially an offline MMORPG.
Did 11 have
combat-wise.
hunts?
Hunts?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I didn't get that far in 11.
Because 12 had hunts, and I know that there's a big, not a big push, but I know the creator of 14 really likes the Ivalice world. So I'm wondering how much was taken from 12 and how much 12 took from 11. But I can see a lot of similarities, at least in 12 and 14.
Well, the hunts thing was like for 2.0 because Final Fantasy 14 1.0 was a disaster.
I know that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That was like
And I love
Square
how
Enix straight up apologized for it, which like that never happens.
I love how the whole story of 2.0 is like, hey, we reset everything and now the game's
It's like,
suck.
hey, we screwed up.
Story.
We're
That's
sorry.
literally how the story is.
That's amazing.
But
And at the end, when you beat the game, there's like a long list of
I
like
remember this,
Meteor survivors in the credits. Those are the people who stuck with 1.0. So
Yep.
it's like, thank you for bearing with our shitty game. And it's really long, so I'm like, it's kind of like almost like Mighty Number 9 credits.
Yeah, the Kickstarter credits. There's like 3
Yes.
and a half hour credits. I swear, every time I know I'm getting off topic here, but like when I saw like Mighty Number 9's credit sequence is 4 hours long, like that doesn't sound like something you'd make up, but I thought it was made up. And then I clicked like a YouTube video and I'm like, oh god, like it really is.
But yeah, and like I've taken a break from 14, but I do want to keep playing that, especially because since I've got into Heaven's Word and I feel like I'm progressing very well, I want to keep playing. And also I've been leveling up like other characters because my girlfriend's playing, so I'm leveling up a character with her. And then when I was doing Palace of the Dead with Mr. Ryu, I wanted to do another character so I could start leveling up that character. So I feel like I was getting places in that game, and then Final Fantasy XII came out, so I got a little distracted. I'm really gonna have to like schedule myself, like Mondays and Wednesdays I play this game, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I play this game, because otherwise I can get very one-track mind. Like I'll get home from work and be like, ooh, or let's put it this way, I'll play a game, let's say on Monday, and I won't get as far as I want to. So then the whole day at work I'm thinking of that game. And then when I get home, I want to play that game some more, and then I'll just continue that cycle. But so I need to kind of schedule myself or something.
Yeah.
I should probably do that too, because like now that I got my new PS4, I actually should continue Persona 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and I want to do another playthrough of that too.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, like my save data was on the cloud because I'm a PS Plus member.
I was about to ask. Yeah. I gotta say, regarding FF12. I mean, like, I haven't actually played it, but from what I saw our friend Luminaire play, I didn't really dig the combat system, but I gotta say, the aesthetic, the graphics in general, even on the PS2 look gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, they were nice.
And the character, I don't care about Vaughn, but basically every other character in the game...
Well, Vaughn is basically pretty useless.
Vaughn in the story, he's just like the main character that's actually just a side character.
He's just watching, yeah. But, like, I liked all the other characters, and I love FF12's version of Cid. He's of the ones I've seen, he's probably my favorite Cid. He is just so fun. He's so theatrical with his, like, delivery. He's not in the game for too terribly long. He's one of those characters who shows up in, like, 3 or 4 scenes for a couple minutes each, but when he does, you're like, yes, like every single time. He's such a blast.
My favorite Cid is 15 Cid because she's a girl and she's hot.
Oh,
actually, that's not Cid. Cid is actually in 15.
Sydney in Japanese.
Oh, really?
But Cid is actually in 15, right, Daryl?
Yes, I know. I watched
or Mr. Ryu, sorry.
Oh, there are 2 Cids?
Hey.
There's Cid, which is the grandfather, and Sydney, which is the granddaughter.
Oh, nice. Is it
Or in
C-I-D?
America, it's like, yeah, in Japanese, but in America it's Cindy.
Cindy. Either way, well, Sydney is a better play on Cid anyway. Actually, here's a question about 15. Like, I was wondering about the Heaven's Word title. Is it like...
That's 14.
Excuse me, 14. Sorry. So I guess I'm a little off topic. But
it has several meanings, if that's what you're trying to get at.
Well, no, that's what I'm wondering, because, like,
Here's the meaning of Heaven's Sword. It's the best sword in the game. It's a sword used by warriors.
No, that's actually...
No, so the 2 meanings I know is...
I know what you mean. It's a stupid joke.
Such as like a shield, so a heaven's shield, and then also towards the heavens.
I actually didn't even think of the shield. I was thinking of, I guess, what would apparently be a third meaning then. Like, do you ever get to see what the depiction of heaven looks like?
I see what
yeah.
you're thinking. I don't think that's one of the meanings that they were going for.
Like a
Yeah.
big grassy field, because that is actually a sward. That's what a sward is.
Oh no, but I think there's just Heaven's
It's
Ward.
Heaven's Ward.
Okay. Damn, no
But
triple
ward,
pun.
when you were saying the Heaven thing, I was thinking of a ward as like a location in a city.
Oh, no, I was thinking Heaven Sward. Like, I was wondering if they're playing that, but that's pretty obscure.
But yeah, so and I've been playing the phone game too, Brave Exvius again, because I kind of want a captcha game to play, or
Sure.
gotcha
yeah.
game. So that's basically been my few weeks. There's been a few other things, but those are the major things. So, Mr. Ryu, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so last week I watched a little bit of Evo, and especially like Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5 Grand Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Tekken 7, like I think the winners final like was the best match with like Ni versus JDCR, who's the one who took it. Well, Tekken is like, now that I know how to play Tekken, like it was like much more fun and exciting for me to watch. But the best part of the Tekken 7 Grand Final was the announcement, like right after it ended. It was like, here's a guest character. I was like, who is this? I don't know who this is.
Oh,
And then like when they showed like Geese's back, I was like, what? No way.
That
and
was the
then, like,
coolest.
it's like I will destroy you all, and everyone like I was like, ah.
This world is too big for you to rule, or like however he said it.
Actually, my favorite thing about Geese in the trailer is that he speaks perfect English when he's just speaking his lines, but when he's fighting, he's back to English.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's like J.A.K. predictable.
Predictable. Predictable.
I love how
that.
like they're aware people love that, and like they showed like one part where he's just countering all the Tekken characters moves, like predictable. Huh.
That's freaking fantastic. I mean, as for Evo, I mean, I have a little bit to talk about it myself, although I think that'd actually be a pretty good recon topic, because, like, I love me some Geese, and I definitely look forward to seeing...
Yeah, I have a feeling we could talk about Evo a lot.
Yeah,
so I
like,
think
I want to see if he plays into the plot at all. But otherwise, you been playing anything or doing anything this week?
More Final Fantasy XIV, actually.
Oh, there we go. Oh, of course, I forgot, because you were doing that with...
with Mitz and
possibly Pyro, but definitely Mitz and Old Man Stompy.
Pyro hasn't been playing, as he
Yeah,
said.
they both Minty and Old Man have gotten past me.
Oh, okay.
They
We've been
play a
doing,
lot
like-
more. They play a lot more than I even play a day too, I think.
Oh my
Alright.
god, Mitz stays up all night. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
No,
We sometimes
that's
like
one
stay up
thing
till
I
like 5
found.
a.m.
Yeah, that's one thing I found out. There have been a couple of nights where I've been on Facebook, like I've been up late or whatever. It's getting to like 3 or 4 when I don't have work the next day, and I don't know what it was, but like there have been occasions where like I might have needed to ask Old Man Stumpy a quick question or whatever, and he responds instantly. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Anyways, I forgot to finish like the other Evo segment. Like Street Fighter 5, like grand top 8.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the most fun thing to watch. It's, like, I was actually rooting for Punk. He's actually like a new player. He's actually really young too. He's like only 18 years old, but like right now he's considered the best, and I can see why. His footsies and reads are actually like I don't want to explain footsies, but
I was
his,
just
like,
about to say like.
I'll just say his reactions and his like reads are really good. Like he does like things like I feel like only a computer can do, like doing like I guess a missed attack punish into like and convert it into a combo. I'm just like, how do you get that good?
Yeah,
and he's like so young too.
What was
unfortunately,
amazing was he was playing against like not an Evo winner, but like an Evo like grand finalist and semi-finalist like Tokido, and like he was taking him down in a bunch of rounds, and that's insane.
Oh yeah. Tokido did get sent to losers by Punk, but like,
I didn't know that. I just tuned into the final.
He did.
Holy
Tokido
crap.
did say that like they do trade rounds, and like they're both pretty much even ground.
Jeez.
But generally, all the matches were really hyped to watch. Itazang, it was like Itabashi Zangief. He's a Zangief player.
Mm-hmm.
Like his Zangief is way more fun to watch than Snake Eyes, in my opinion.
Really? Because like for
'Cause
whatever
he does
reason,
more
I just love
crazy-
watching Zangief players.
He does more crazy plays than like Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a bit more reserved.
Yeah,
but,
he's very conservative. Like he'll just tank hits for like a third of like half of a round, and like when he finally connects, all of a sudden he evens the playing field in like 2 shots, like 2 big like combos or whatever. And like, oh god, Zangief.
Oh yeah, Itazan just goes on all in.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Just goes all in, and he does like the weirdest like jump timings, and his tempo is really hard to read for a lot of players.
Huh.
And he's actually a Virtua Fighter player, but moved to Street Fighter.
That makes me, like on one hand, I'm always
I'd like to
see
hear more about this on Recon actually.
Yeah, we get to the announcements as well. Like I just want to say I am very like pleased whenever I see Virtua Fighter players, because I don't remember if I've mentioned this on the cast, but I've certainly mentioned it before. Is that I'm very disappointed that Virtua Fighter 5 was removed from Evo, because it's so
unfortunately
fun to watch.
a very old game and no one really plays it.
Well, at this point it is, but even before, like America just really stopped caring.
Yeah, and I don't know how the scene is in Japan, but we'll talk. I guess we can do a recap like later with that.
Yeah, I just remember I was watching some Twitch stream like this was years ago, and it was not Evo. It was just some tournament. I don't know what it was, like in Japan. It was ridiculous because like player 1 just beat the crap out of player 2, so player 2's out. Then player 3 comes in, beats the crap out of player 1. Like player 4 comes in, beats the crap out of player 3. I'm like, what is happening with this tournament? It's just amazing. Yeah. Like how are you all this good and like this one-sidedly good?
Well, with 3D fighters, like things can get really run-sided, and I think 3D fighters are way more balanced than 2D fighters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in Tekken, everyone's viable, even like the low tiers.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet 8-way
like,
movement.
Jack 7 in Tekken 7, like there was 2 Jack players in top 8 in the Evo, and he's considered like second worst tier.
Huh. Actually, you know what I'm curious about? Speaking of Jack, because I keep forgetting Jack is always numbered after the respective Tekken entries. If they ever come out with a Tekken 10, is that going to be Jack 10, like next to Jack X from Jack Cross? It doesn't count. It's fine.
Well, no, Jack Cross is different because like Jack numbers are just like the actual numbers. Not
no,
like
I know, but
Jack...
I was thinking. I forgot it was supposed to be Cross. I'm thinking X
10.
Roman. Yeah, it was 10 the whole time.
It's like Jack Roman numeral 10. It's like what?
It's just like that one set of the X-Men animated series, like part 2, part Roman numeral 3, like part 4, the number Arabic number 4. It's like what? Like how do you get this? What was the numbering for that? It was like 2 Roman numeral 2.
Yeah, it was like some
Arabic
Dark Phoenix
3
saga.
It's like,
just like
doing?
part 1, part 3, part Roman numeral 3. It's just like what?
That was hilarious. Like I don't know if you would ever know this if you watched it on TV, if you'd remember.
You probably
but, like,
wouldn't because
we were
like
binging
in TV they like just showed random episodes.
Yeah, but like we were binging it, so there's 2 part 3s, and one of them is Arabic 3, and the other is Roman numeral 3. We're like, wait, it's like the dumb.
So dumb.
How do you mess that up? Like, come on.
Well, to be honest, that cartoon wasn't particularly good.
It's
like by
it
today's
had parts
standards,
that were
I guess.
amazing, but like yeah, some parts. Season 5 in general was just such a shit show.
My favorite X-Men episode was the Christmas episode.
No, I was gonna say my favorite.
I think we're wasting a little bit of time here.
No, yeah, I guess.
We digress too much.
Jubilee telling stories, fairy tales to kids. The best.
Where's that blasted salami?
I forgot about that.
Okay, back to Evo.
Oh,
so Grand Finals was pretty hyped to watch with Street Fighter 5. It went down to Punk versus Tokido.
Yeah,
and Punk was clearly, unfortunately, like breaking down from pressure because he's young and has not experienced like a big stage like Evo with everyone watching him in the center.
Yeah.
So he the pressure got to him and Tokido got it, and he did like a couple like disrespect things, but in like good fun.
Yeah.
Like Tokido did a Akuma taunt combo because Akuma's taunt actually does damage and you combo into it. And he did like a Raging Demon finish too.
That was freaking sweet. I gotta say it was too bad because like Punk and Tokido were kind of neck and neck, but yeah, when Tokido lost the first set, he just never recovered.
Oh yeah,
like he
and
clearly
like one mistake,
never recovered.
Yeah, one mistake Punk did was like not like give him time to recollect himself. Like he just went straight into the match. That was not a.
That
good,
is true. Yeah, he quickly pressed the retry button and like now you got to take some breaths, man. Like this.
Yeah,
this
especially when like a lot of money's in the line like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun to watch. The Abigail trailer was.
We get to get the trailers for Recon because those are interesting to discuss in themselves.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. And then I guess Final Fantasy XIV. Old Man Stompy, Mitz, and I, along with like another friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine actually, we've been doing some of the Realm Reborn content. That's like what used to be the end game, and they're pretty fun. All the level 50 dungeons and primal extremes and hards.
How hard are the actual extremes?
The extremes you need to get used to. They like at first they're really difficult, but you like once you learn them, like it should be straightforward. But like it is very easy to wipe, like if like everyone's not coordinated, and that's really hard to be coordinated with like a pickup group.
Yeah,
and like since it's an MMO, you are certain like to run into a few toxic players, and we did actually. Unfortunately, Old Man Stompy, Mitz, and I ran into one during Garuda Extreme, and well, whatever.
Yeah, toxic players really ruin the game sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally.
Actually, regarding Extreme, though, I remember we were talking about just cool, classic bosses that showed up in FF14, because it's like, hey, I remember this stuff, now let's look at it in current-gen technology, and it's super cool. It was kind of funny, because we had mentioned X-Death, and I just get a kick out of X-Death, because FF5 is one of the few Final Fantasy games I'm nostalgic for, because I've actually played it. But Old Man Stompy showed me a video of, like, a super sort of X-Death fight, and, like, his entrance was just like something else. Like I don't know if you guys have seen it, so like
no, I'd rather wait because
I don't want to say what it is, but like
because like that's a level 70.
Like, I didn't watch the video that Old Man Zombie posted.
Yeah, it was like a show-stopping number. Like I won't say what happened, but it was just like it was one of those things where like with Evo, they in addition to capturing the footage, they were capturing the Twitch chat or whatever. Maybe it was a Discord chat. And just everyone in the Discord is like, or the Twitch is just like flipping out. Like I don't know if it was the first time this thing appeared or what, but everyone was like, "What?" It was freaking cool. So I guess look forward to that. I'd love to see
a Discord channel with just a bunch of people. Yeah, confusing Twitch and Discord. Why you?
Yeah, well, I don't remember what. It's been a while since I saw the video, but it was freaking cool.
Oh yeah. The stream chat is pretty funny sometimes.
Yeah, I love it when something meme-worthy drops and everyone just jumps on it. Like for some of the games done quick marathons, sometimes it'll happen. Like I don't know. I remember like a year ago there was some player doing a speedrun of like Amnesia or something. I forgot what he was saying, but he was like, "Oh, this is one of the more like this is the most difficult trick in the run by far." And so like everyone in the chat was just spamming in all caps, by far, and it's just kind of funny. I don't know, the way you said it, I guess it just cracked everybody up. Everyone's doing that. It's sometimes like usually I turn off the Twitch chat because it just is a bunch of stuff I can't follow because like 100,000 people are posting.
And
but
if
it's ever that was funny as hell. What?
Because like when you're on Twitch, I just kind of want to focus on the gameplay. I can't focus on both the chat log and the gameplay because the chat log just like keeps streaming down.
Yeah,
like,
you are not
infinitely.
following it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anyways, we've been bouncing back and forth like really badly, but continuing on with Final Fantasy XIV, we've been doing like the level 50 stuff, and then I actually hit level 60 yesterday.
Hey.
And
nice.
I can actually like just go through the Heaven Sword like story, but I'm just kind of taking my time with it and just like playing with like my friends.
I fight with
my friends. Also,
yeah, like I want to finish the Heavensward stuff only because I bought Stormblood, so I kind of want to just see that content.
Yeah, and then I guess you can do the Realm Reborn content later. You can actually do those like unsynced, like as a level 70, and just like destroy it.
Plow through them, yeah.
Yeah, if you really, I feel like doing it like level 50 is more fun. That's the route that like Old Man Stumpy, Mitz, and I were doing. And what else? I guess that's it for me.
Well, alright. I guess I only have really two things to talk about. One of them is something I'd brought up briefly before, but at this point I've played a lot more. Attack on Titan for the PS4. I think it's also on Steam, called Wings of Liberty. For whatever reason, the PS4 version's just not called that. It's just Attack on Titan, straight up. But whatever. Basically, at this point, I've beaten the game.
Is this kind of like a Dynasty Warriors?
It's Koei Tecmo.
Yeah, it's Koei Tecmo, so it has
okay.
Dynasty Warriors tropes, but you're not wading through crowds of enemies, because with Attack on Titan that would make no sense. But there are generally...
That would be funny.
Oh my god.
It's just like a million Titans,
good.
and you're just like a tiny... like Jaeger just like destroying a bunch of Titans like they were like ragdolls. It's just like what?
You can do like 2, 3, 4 kills in a row if they're clustered enough, but that's as good as it's gonna get. But that said, though, maps do tend to have 20 to 50 Titans on them, because the maps are kind of large because they really want to.
How long does it take to kill one Titan?
Oh, one Titan, it can take like a second or two, because if you hit them in the neck, then they're dead. But like as Titans get more health, you might take a couple of hits on the same body part. So like boss Titans at the point of the game I'm on now can actually take a while, especially because you cannot go directly for the neck, because they either I think because if you ever try reaching for the neck, the game either just says it's hardened, because some of the Titans can do that hardening ability, or they might just protect their neck with their hands like the female Titan did in the show. So you have to cut off both arms first, and that can take a little while. Speaking of which, the things with Titans, I think you have to wait like a good minute or two. But if you do, yes, their arms do eventually grow back. So it shouldn't be a problem.
Is that something that was talked about in the show? Or is this just a game mechanic?
A little bit.
In the show, or at least in the manga, they explain that like they do regenerate.
Yeah, the regular Titans, they don't really deal with that so much, because you either kill them or they kill you and you run away, so you never really cut off a regular Titan's arm and then just leave. It's really like important Titans that they'll point that out for. But yes, like season 2 in particular in the anime points out the regeneration, while slow, is a thing. And even in season 1 we've seen just recreation of certain Titan bodies and things of that sort. So it's in there. But what's interesting is, actually, speaking of which, Attack on Titan pulled something kind of like what One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 did. Now, with Pirate Warriors 3, it concluded with the Dressrosa arc, which was the most recent arc of the anime, and I think even the manga at the time. And that was the Don Flamingo arc. And no wonder they had to conclude there. That arc was like straight up like 100 episodes long, like literally. I understand that a lot of it was padding in the anime, but even in the manga, it was a long arc. But with One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, the very last level of the game just straight up tells you, like when you scroll over which level you want to play, when you scroll over that level, there's actually a message in the game that says, this part of the story isn't finished yet, so this part is just like we made it up. Like whatever happens, like here you go. So that's
pretty awesome.
It really kind of is. Like I honestly, I was a little disappointed when I got Pirate Warriors 3 and I saw that it was playing through the actual series, because on one hand it's cool to relive those moments, like the really cool moments, but on the other hand I really like Pirate Warriors 2 because the entire story was made up. Like you had no clue what was going to happen, so like anything goes, which was really cool.
It was all just a dream.
Yeah, it was like Hokuto no Ken's like dream mode. But which I actually like too. But in Pirate Warriors 3, the last level of the game was like Blackbeard's on Dressrosa 2 and you gotta fight him, and it's like, what? So like there was some weirdness going on. So with Attack on Titan, the game is basically season 1 of the anime, where a lot of the end game is trying to deal with the female Titan, and she's hard. Like she can sprint and she has intelligence.
I get it. She's hard because she can harden.
Yep, that, and also she's just plain difficult to deal with anyway. It's a real pain in the ass, because Titans, until you unlock hard mode, Titans basically are almost not a threat. They just punish your mistakes. Like, if you are coming at them from much too close of a distance, and you don't get enough speed to cut, and you just kind of bounce off of them, then they might respond by grabbing you and dealing damage, but mostly they just kind of stand around like fools, unless they're like bosses. On true attack mode, they're like a real threat. I'm not even there yet. But so all of a sudden, like female Titan, okay, and she's like actually hard. Like even with boss Titans, it's been like, oh, you gotta cut off both arms first, even though they still stand around and attack a little more than the grunts. But female Titan's tough. She's actually jumping doing like kicking from Titans is like unheard of. Hardening an arm before taking a swing, so you can't cut her arm when it's hardened. It's like, at this point in the game, I can deal with it, but when you first play it, it's pretty difficult. And so you basically beat the game and unlock like new modes once you've dealt with the female Titan, but this is a thing where I think they got a few chapters into the manga. I don't believe season 2 of the anime existed yet, but this was something where the Beast Titan was like established, but nobody really knew what was going on with him. And even in season 2 of the anime, the manga's ahead, I know, but I'm not caught up with the manga. But in season 2 of the anime, you see the Beast Titan a couple of times, but he doesn't really run in there and attack, so like no one's tried actually fighting him. But I don't think we knew that yet when the PS4 game came out. So the Beast Titan is in the game, and there are a couple of missions where you have to cut off, or not cut off, but you have to damage his arms, and then he retreats. And it's just, I'm not done with the epilogue part of the game yet, but this is starting to feel like sort of fan fiction mode, where it's not full on fan fiction like kill the Beast Titan, but so far what I've seen is, who's this guy? I don't know, deal with him, and he always runs away because you know he's going to be important later, but to what end I don't know. So I'm very curious as to how the epilogue of the game is actually going to end. And I gotta say, by the way, the last story level I did was just another Beast Titans attacking, and you gotta put up with them. But all of a sudden, at this late stage in the game, you know, every time you start a level, when you get to a contextually sensitive point, a tutorial message might pop up if it's the first time you've ever encountered this thing. And I've already beaten the Beast Titan like twice, but this third level, it's like, by the way, if certain Titans are left alone long enough, they might go into Berserk mode. And I'm like, what? Like, I've never heard of any of this. And so, like, I'm trying to deal with, like, what's called dire subjugations, which, whenever they say kill Titans, they say subjugate them, which I find kind of interesting. But if you can complete special missions, like beat every side mission and kill X number of Titans, or like deal with this thing in a very short period of time, or, you know, etc., then you unlock like a sort of a secret Titan fight, which is harder than even usually the regular boss of the stage. And a couple of times it's even been the armored Titan, and I'm like, oh shit. But with the Beast Titan, I'm trying to deal with the dire subjugation, and the Beast Titan is, I guess, in Berserk mode. I don't know how that really affected his attack, but god damn, he was fast. Like, with the exception of the female Titan and the armored Titan, where running is their gimmick, Titans don't really run unless they're, like, kind of trying to do a running grab at somebody. They mostly kind of shamble around like zombies that can cover decent distance just because they're so tall. But the Beast Titan is booking it. But what made it really creepy, to me at least, was that they didn't really program him to look like he's moving that way. So it was actually kind of unnerving, because it was like something out of Resident Evil 1. Like, I'm fighting a different Titan, and I see the Beast Titan coming up like way too fast. But the thing is, he was doing his regular calm walk animation, except it was just faster, and he's just kind of like just running me down that way. I'm just like, oh god, it's like it's just freaky. He's slowly walking but fast. I'm like, ugh. Yeah,
it's kind of like how. Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's kind of like how Resident Evil 7 like hard mode is. Like,
yeah, the enemy they just set the enemy speed to like ×2, and they're just like the animation doesn't look right.
Like, Jack Baker power walks at the speed of light. I'm just like, oh my god, he's so fast. And I'm like,
yeah, there's one zombie in Resident Evil 1 that does that. If you're playing on the arranged mode in the director's cut, where he shambles, but like, it's just faster, and you're like, ah, and you're just kind of not used to it because the animation is not really different. It's just faster. So like the Beast Titan's like, again, it's not like he's pumping his arms and legs like female Titan when she runs. He's just like soft, like slowly stepping, but he's just gaining on me. I'm like, oh, ugh. So it was really intimidating to deal with that. So at this point, I got to do a bunch of grinding to get through the story mode, because Attack on Titan has what's called Expedition Mode, which I actually really like. I'm a sucker for you mentioned in Final Fantasy XII, like, the hunts. I'm always a sucker for things like that, where you have a bulletin board of things to do, and you, like, complete a percentage of this location until you've got it, like, saturated of enemies. Sorry, I'm using the term saturated from, like, Berserk on the PS2. But, like, I love that the expedition mode exists. The only thing that bugs me a little bit, though, is that now in the story mode, they're like, oh man, some stuff's out there, but we don't know what's out there. You'd better do expedition mode and clear out some area. And I'm like, I love doing expedition mode, but I also want to beat the story. Don't tell me to just go out and grind 10 or 11 levels and then come back to story mode. Like, that's where, like, I was going to do it anyway, but I wanted to get through story mode first, you know, and now I really can't. So I'm going to do expedition mode. Like, I'm still going to have fun doing it, but it's like, I want to unlock true story mode, like the hard version, so I can get, you know, superior weapons and things like that. Because the deal with Attack on Titan is, you have, I think I mentioned this before, but you have 3 things you got to manage at all times, other than like health items and bombs or whatever. Your basic equipment. You have your swords, which you use to attack Titans. You have your gas canisters, which you use to boost yourself around so you can swing like Spider-Man. And you have your omnidirectional gear, which is what allows, it's the ropes basically that allow you, or the wires that allow you to swing around. So the omnidirectional gear is just what you have equipped, but you can run out of gas and you can break your swords. Now, there are ways to refresh those things. You can do like a super special command, which gives you a temporary boost with those, or you could find people that just directly resupply you on the field, but despite the fact that you can extend your supply, it is still limited. So if you have a really hard Titan and you're like a level 1 character, it's not a matter of, oh, well, I just have to be really good at the game and just not get hit. Like, no, if you're out of gas, you're not going to get enough speed to do some real damage. You can kind of fudge it and sort of fall on them and get weak damage, but even if you want to pull that, if your swords eventually break, or at least degrade, it'll be like, you can't cut. You know, it's like Monster Hunter when you don't sharpen your weapon and it just bounces off monsters. It's just like, you just can't now. Like, it's not even about skill. It's about having good equipment and resource management. So, like, I actually have to get better equipment as I go. Like, I'm not going to do, like, my super hard mode run for swag points with level 1 equipment. Like, that's just not happening. So I'm going to have to...
Get pro.
Yeah, like, getting pro is only half the battle, it seems. So I'm going to have to work on that as well. And the last thing I want to mention really briefly is that for my birthday, Mr. Ryu had to wait until it actually came out, but he got me the new Resident Evil CG movie, Resident Evil Vendetta. And,
is it as good as the live-action movies?
Anything is better than the live-action movies, so let's go
this is on its a whole nother level.
Yeah, the thing with the Resident Evil CG movies is there's 3 of them, and the first 2 are competent, and it's like, hey, I get to see Chris again, I get to see Claire again. Like, it's cool seeing the actual video game characters doing video game things. The movies weren't great, but they were enjoyable. Resident Evil Vendetta is not as good as those, but it's way more entertaining. Like, it is schlock. And it is funny as hell. Like, it is yes. Dumb. Like, oh man, I put up a clip on YouTube. It's like 7 or 9 seconds long, where it's just this scene where Leon is going like 1,000 miles an hour on a motorcycle, and somehow the dogs from Resident Evil 1 are still keeping up with them, and he fires a couple of shots at one of the dogs, and it's like, and, you know, it drops, and it goes rolling backwards on the road, because, you know, it's, you know, flipping around because of its own momentum from having been shot and also been running. And, you know, as it's falling back, you know, there are a bunch of cars behind Leon. He's on a highway. One of the cars hits the dog, but it, like, when it hits the dog, it's like it hit a boulder. Like, the car just flips into the air, and when it lands, it makes this huge explosion. It's like, what? No. Like,
what happened was, like, the car flips over, and then the other car flips over on top of that car.
Yeah.
And it exploded, and Leon's like, yes, mission accomplished. Just like,
and then he throws a grenade back to take out the other dogs and definitely kill some innocents in the process. It's like, wait, what? It's hilarious. Like,
the last dog
stupid stuff
was,
like
that. The funniest.
Oh, it was the best. I also like how one of the dogs was leaping at him, like, from car to car, and it leaps onto one car and leaps off of it, and it kind of crushes the car like that one agent did in The Matrix Reloaded, and I'm like, that makes no sense. It didn't even make sense in The Matrix Reloaded. It was like, what is going on?
Oh my god, you have no idea how much I laughed hard. They were, like, showing preview clips of that. That was, like, the first scene I saw. I actually just burst out laughing in the theater.
It's great.
I was like, oh my god.
I also love how both Chris and the villain of the movie have, like, a no moment. It's fantastic.
No, it was actually Chris and the main villain, Urias. But,
it was, like,
funny because it was just like, no, a melodramatic, no.
And Chris gets an explosion
in the background. And I was like, oh my god.
It was fantastic.
And the funny part is that they're kind of back to back.
Yeah, they're in really close proximity of each other. And there's also dumb stuff like, you know how in a zombie movie, nobody ever suspects that the first zombie is a zombie? They're like, oh man, what's going on? But like the thing is, this is Resident Evil like post 6, the movie. Zombies have been around for a long ass time. So this military organization is like,
it's BSAA.
The BSAA from like,
shoot first, ask questions later.
No. Well, I guess, but Chris's like organization is like going into this mansion and like they know there's shady activities around, and this guy who's just covered in blood and shambling toward them is just like, ugh. And one of them was like, excuse me, sir, like, are you okay? It's like, are you? Even if he's not a zombie, he's not okay. Like,
dude, I like laughed. I was like, aren't you trained for this? You're the BSAA in the story. It's just like, you should know.
And also the dialogue is so corny, like, so, we're getting into this situation. Well, you've seen it all. Well, Mr. Hero, you got any advice for us newbies? And I'm just like, Christ's sake, like, was this movie made in the 80s? Like, this dialogue is so bad. Like, I really wonder if it was, like, Resident Evil 4 ironic, or if it's just bad writing. It's amazing.
It's just, like, they took, like, everything that was, like, crazy in Resident Evil 6 and, like, 4. You know how, like, ridiculous Resident Evil got from 4, right?
Yeah.
And it just, like, progressively got crazier, and 6 was just like the icing on the cake. It was just like, oh my god, this game got 6. Crazy. My god. Anyway, it's like the BS and schlock in 6 is just like,
oh my god. My favorite is they have, I mentioned equilibrium before, but they kind of have an equilibrium moment in like one of the final fights of the movie where Chris and the final boss are both like within melee range, and they're both shooting at each other with like rapid fire weapons, and they're both missing at point blank because the other is just that fast, and it eventually turns
like
to melee.
Like doing all these gun katas and stuff.
It's great. It's like, I was like, come on, like it's so stupid. Like if you're watching this for a serious experience, then you are in for a major disappointment. But if you're looking at just like fun schlock, then you're gonna derive a lot of enjoyment from this movie. Like,
it's my favorite video game movie.
I would watch this again. It's dumb as hell. Also, Leon shoots like 26 shots from a pistol without reloading. I actually had 2 people, one on Twitter and one on Facebook, inform me that with gun modifications you could go potentially as high as 20, but he still broke that. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
It depends on the kind of gun, but I'm pretty sure some can go above 30 too.
That might be the case, but both of these guys, I think, like,
I don't think
really
it's going to be nearly as bad as Underworld. Because I think in the whole, at least the first Underworld movie, they go through the whole movie without reloading. I feel like
kind of glorious.
So they're
it's one of those movies where you only reload
to
look cool, because reloading looks cool sometimes, but they don't have to reload. But yeah, that's my week. At this point, I think we have time for one question. This one might be a little out there. I wonder if people have thought about this. But the Fool Arcana asks, if we could each have our own JoJo stans or persona, what would it be? And what would be their power / arcana? You guys consider that one?
So I've kind of thought about it, but the thing is, I haven't watched JoJo, so well,
that's okay. Persona.
Either way, I'd obviously pick a persona.
Yeah.
But going from that, I don't know if I could pick one, because I feel like I'd really want to think about my life. Because what I'm trying to say is all the personas in all the main characters' personas in all those games kind of reflects who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Like it might be someone from mythology who goes through or is going through something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know enough to pick one like that. I feel though that if I picked one based on what I thought was cool, it'd probably be Prometheus.
Okay, what's that one? Because I really don't know Persona.
Oh, Prometheus, I'm just talking about the Greek mythology.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a Persona too, but
if you say you don't know Persona, if you know mythology, you know Persona. All the personas are from mythology, so there's no
all right, I'll take it.
And I kind of picked Prometheus in the way that like the whole knowledge, like he's the one who gave humans the knowledge of fire,
mm-hmm.
And he suffered because of that.
Yeah,
and just because I feel like my persona would be fire-based. That's another reason why.
Okay. But no, what were you saying? What you were saying about it reflecting aspects of your personality, that kind of reminds me, not for the podcast, but I've occasionally seen the question, like, you know, if you went to Silent Hill, what would your Silent Hill look like? And it's like, that's a personal question. Like, that's very personal. Mr. Ryu, do you have any idea? Because I do, if you still need to think of something.
Oh, for like a stand?
A stand or a persona, whatever you're
My
going
stand
with.
would be something probably like really dumb. Like,
it would be, actually, if we know that stands are based off of music, I know exactly who your stand would be.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hatsune Miku.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be like, actually, there's it's gonna be an artist, so I'm gonna be like live tune, and it just turns like people into little anime girls, like.
Truly the most dangerous of the powers.
It's like, oh no, I'm useless as a little anime girl.
that you know what that actually reminds me of is Alessi's stand Set, which was not music. It was one of the Egyptian gods where he just turned people younger and younger, and he basically turned them into little kids, so he could just beat up on them as an adult because he's a creepy asshole. Like, yeah, like your stand sounds like Set's ability, kind of, except on the cute side and not on the absolutely like genuinely terrifying side.
I don't know. It's just like I play a song, and like everyone who hears it will suffer the effects of the stand, I guess.
So it's like Michael Jackson. Like everyone just goes along with your song.
Yes.
Every time, just like everybody dance now. I guess if I had to come up with a stand, like I don't think of stands in terms of like, oh, what my attack powers would be, like, because not everyone's like a freaking superhero. I don't know. I think the closest pre-existing, I guess, stand that might liken to my preference, just because I'm always capturing footage and everything, I would think probably something like Moody Blues from Part 5, Golden Wind. And Moody Blues' gimmick was it can, like, I think it like recorded conversations and things like that and can play them back. Like, it looked kind of like a tape recorder. So I don't know, apply that to video as well, and I think that would be a pretty decent thing for me to have. Not the most creative thing, as Moody Blues already exists, but there you go. So,
yeah, I was going to say, too, where, like, picking an arcana is difficult as well, because I don't know. I probably could list all of the arcanas, but I don't remember what they all symbolize.
Oh, that's right. The stands also, well, at least Part 3 stands also did the arcana thing.
Yeah.
Was it Part 4 where they started, like, going to bands?
Even Part 3, they started going into bands, but Part 4 just hold the whole thing.
Oh,
so it's one of those things where I know I'd probably pick a god that's based off of knowledge or something, and it would probably be Magician or Hanged Man as my arcana, but I don't know exactly which. This might be one that I might want to research and come back to.
Yeah. Like in JoJo, the arcana was more of like relevant to the actual abilities rather than like the logic behind all of that. But yeah, with JoJo, even Part 3, they had Kenny G and tenor sax and like Vanilla Ice and Cream and stuff like that. They started touching upon the bands a little bit, and even in like Part 1 and 2, you had people named like Tom Petty and like AC/DC and stuff like that. Like, he was teasing the idea the whole time, but Stan started it in Part 3 and then went full on from Part 4 onward, like with the most obvious being the star one, like Crazy Diamond. But yeah, I believe that's the time we have, so that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own on YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs up, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement keeps the show going. You can also catch us on Thursdays on our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in pop culture. And finally, Vice was not here today, but you could find him as Vice the Bold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter. You could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince, and my Twitter page, at Lotus Prince. And if you are interested in catching my videos early, getting in on exclusive streams, or even selecting future Let's Plays, then perhaps consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/Lotus Prince.
And you can find me as PyroJackFrost or Cloud08540 on most gaming platforms.
And for me, you don't want to be friends with me.
Trust me, guys.
If you really want to, I'm generally Mr. Like MR_Ryu45 on all the gaming platforms.
Mm-hmm. And Old Man Stompy, of course, is Old Man Stompy on where he wants to be found.
Or Ovaries in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, perfect.
Ovaries, yes.
Ovaries.
Well, his name's supposed to be like the scientific name for sheep, Ovis aries, but like it's just like funnier to read it as Ovaries.
Yeah, he pushes the sheep a lot, actually. It's pretty great. All right, so thank you all for watching and, well, listening, and until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Sayonara, suckers.
Nothing personal.